We're talking.
Yeah. And I for what it's worth, I do appreciate that.
Sure.
So, since we're doing video, this is going to be a little bit of a weird shot.
So we're going to be reporting each other. It's fine.
Right, that's fine. That's totally fine. I just want to make sure I get the shot okay. All right. Light's not great, but it's okay.
Okay.
Arthur, since I'm also doing audio, can you just say your name?
My name is Arthur Schopper, Arthur. Last name S as in Sam, C as in cat, H as in hat, A as in apple, P as in people, E as in elephant, R as in rabbit. Yeah.
And Arthur, why are you here?
I'm here because Hyro invited me, first of all, and any opportunity I have to promote MassResistance, to talk about the group that I work for. We've been fighting LGBT perversion for the organization for over 30 years. Brian Kammacher, the president, started out when he found his children bringing home these obscene lessons on anal sex, oral sex, homosexuality. This was in 1993. And he said, I want this out. I don't want my kids poisoned with this crap. And they went statewide. They passed a student opt-out law, and it's been history ever since. We've been fighting this agenda.
I guess my biggest question, I guess to start with, and you've known me a long time. I'm tough, but I am pretty fair.
I don't think you're fair, but that's okay.
We can talk about any direction.
Sure, we can.
It's fair.
That's why I'm recording.
Yeah, totally fair. I guess my leading question would be, or not leading, but my first big question: why WeHo?
Why WeHo?
Yeah. Why are you
this
here
is
in
where
West Hollywood?
This is where he set up the event. And I think it is appropriate because this is known as like the gay mecca or the gay capital. It's important to tell the truth everywhere. And I'm not afraid to do that even here. I met a lady, she was from Culver City. She was celebrating with other conservatives and she called herself a lesbian, although she's no longer in a relationship. And when I told her what I do, I work with MassResistance, we fight the whole agenda. She was actually thrilled to hear from it. And she's like, wow, tell me more about this. And I went through everything, homosexuality is a result of abuse, trauma, etc. She agreed. She could line up with that. She was grateful that I was not afraid to talk to her. And she knows and she can attest to it. I don't violate anybody's natural rights. No natural right should be violated, but two men pretending to be married, what two men do to each other, it's abusive. Your body isn't designed for that kind of conduct. Same thing is true for two women. And here I am in West Hollywood where this stuff is promoted as if it's natural, normal, and acceptable. You have to be able to tell the truth, even in places that would be seemingly the most hostile. And by the way, I had a very good reception here. I think I got the best response from this audience.
I apologize. I didn't see everybody else's, but I got
fine.
here mid-speech.
That's fine.
So one of the questions I've always kind of had, and we've never actually had a chance to kind of...
Sure.
So what is the goal? Are you looking to outlaw homosexuality? Are you looking to ban homosexuality literature? What exactly is the end goal here?
There is a broad array of goals that we have. One of the biggest is the schools. This stuff should not be promoted to children. It should not be disseminated. We need to clean the schools out. There shouldn't be LGBT anything. The notion of any child who is at risk or struggling with identity issues then being brought into a homosexual indoctrination is insane. And then on top of that, transgenderism. These are, if not destructive behaviors, they're outright, this is a mental illness. This is not stuff you should be promoting. You can go back 20, even 30 years ago. Parents would have been burning schools down if their kids were exposed to this stuff. Now there is such an indoctrination in place, and there's also such a fear of speaking out. As I mentioned with Redlands, there's a group called Together for Redlands. They are a true hate group. They have targeted, maligned, defamed parents and everyday citizens who don't want their kids exposed to this stuff. That's one goal. Something I didn't have a chance to talk about. We've introduced resolutions against Obergefell v. Hodges. That's the same-sex marriage decision that was imposed upon this country by 5 unelected judges, which, even though there were 38 states in varying forms, whether by initiative or by legislature, had clearly defined marriage as one man and one woman, plus there was the Defense of Marriage Act. We are seeking to overturn Obergefell. As far as the United States is concerned, we want a culture where the truth is restored and homosexuality and transgenderism are re-deviantized. We have been assisting African countries with passing stricter anti-sodomy statutes, which we support. As far as the United States is concerned, we want to take a clear natural law approach without having to go to that step at this point. Because the fact of the matter is, if you have a culture that finally can reject the abnormal and embraces what's true and natural, you don't have to go to such elements. But I will say this, anti-sodomy statutes do serve a place. We can go back 30, 40, 50 years ago when they were still on the books and even enforced. They had to do with communal practices, and they were also used by law enforcement to deal with child predators. It was an easy way to deal with sex trafficking, drug trafficking, human trafficking, child trafficking. So in that regard, those statutes are appropriate.
Only asking because you brought it up.
Of course.
You mentioned, years ago, people would burn down the school. I just want to be clear. You don't support burning down the school?
No, I mean,
okay.
What I'm saying is there would be such outrage.
I want to be fair to you. Yeah.
There would be such outrage about it. That's my point. It's a hyperbole, but there would be such outrage. You would have parents like storming school board meetings, confronting people without any reservation. But we're at a point right now where so many people are afraid of being labeled homophobic, transphobic, etc. phobic. They're afraid of the cancel culture. They're afraid of the abuse, that they don't say anything. Or they've taken the other route, which is just to take their kids out of schools, which is an understandable choice. But long term, that's not sufficient. Long term, there's many children who are still suffering. They need to be assisted too. You can't abandon the public education system just because some parents are taking their kids out.
Anything else you'd like to say? And I would like to ask a couple pushback questions, if that's
Of course you can.
Still honest ones.
And I'm going to have some pushbacks as well.
Totally fair.
So go for it.
I'm an eminently reasonable guy.
Okay, you called me extreme right in 2020 when I was at a protest in downtown Los Angeles. And why do you think it's extreme that you don't, for people not to want to have homosexuality normalized?
I mean, well, if we're talking about kind of, I guess, mainstream ideas, and
for the
hate
record,
to say the word mainstream ideas.
For the record, we're not a ministry. We're not based on biblical principles per se.
Okay.
My boss is Jewish. We've worked with Muslims. We've worked with people who are like civic religionists or even atheistic. But there is a recognition that homosexuality is destructive. This book compiles a number of studies from numerous journals pointing out the harms associated with homosexual conduct and, of course, transgenderism. So we're based on a natural law biological platform. You called me extreme right. Is that extreme, going with science?
I mean, I would say if we split the difference, because we're talking a little bit about the medical thing, which I certainly have some questions about, and
really,
and the political side of the spectrum. Well, questions about your position, to be clear.
And fire away, please.
Yeah, I just want to clarify why I labeled you as extreme right. Because as a journalist, I think transparency is important, right?
That's not a transparent term. That is a smear. You know that.
Well,
and I've seen the stuff you've done to Roof Korean, by the way. And Roof Korean and I have our differences.
I would love to hear what I've done to him, because
so
I've done.
It is not my job to catalog the harms you've done to him at this
Yeah.
time. I have a right to confront you on what you did to me. That is not journalism, sir, for you to smear me. The whole concept of extreme right, and you know that, but that's fine. I'm not afraid to push back on it.
I mean, I was just say I can explain my position.
Right now, do it.
Like, yeah.
You called me extreme. Why?
I would argue that because you go to events and speak at events where there are members of Proud Boys.
There are no Proud Boys here, sir.
For what it's worth, none that I recognize today. I agree with you.
I see. So if somebody's in an audience, I'm guilty for some reason? I have no control over who's in the audience, sir. That's ridiculous.
But another example would be...
Should I call you extreme right because you're talking to me right now? How far do you want to play this game? That is not journalism, so that's a strike against you.
I would also argue, you know, your position on homosexuality. Certainly, if we're talking about an Overton window, certainly is pretty far to the right.
Interesting. Now, you understand that Jeb Bush, as governor of Florida, wrote an editorial saying that sodomy shouldn't be normalized. Sodomy itself, what two men do to each other. Even that's 20 years ago, printed in Florida newspapers. That's 20 years ago. That doesn't change organically.
Shifts, right? The window shifts.
The window shifts, it does, and it shifts by government force, by a Supreme Court enforcing this agenda. It shifts because of this stuff being indoctrinated on the kids in the schools. That's not organic. Let me give you a story. You're going to love this. My boss, I mentioned to you, is Jewish, right? So you'd think he would suffer persecution. In fact, he was discriminated against in Minnesota, of all places. That's a long story. He and his family moved to Florida, Venice, Florida. He moved to Venice High School at the very point that integration took place.
Okay.
And his high school graduating class had a white and black, they had a mixed couple, okay, male and female. I mean, there was no problem integrating black and people of different ethnic backgrounds had always integrated. There was never a problem with that. When it comes to homosexuality, when it comes to transgenderism, these are not normative. They're not healthy behaviors. There's always this insistence on drilling it through, indoctrination. There has to be these huge programs forcing, whether it's businesses or courts or other institutions, to accept this. So, sir, it hasn't been an organic change. It has been forced upon. This isn't even my words. Read After the Ball by 2 homosexual activists, and they talked about jamming the public to accept homosexuality.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm just looking at where I think the Overton window is, and if you disagree, I do respect that.
You said, I think. Therefore, that's an opinion. That is not journalism.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to bring up? Because I do have like 2 more questions, but
So we can go back and forth.
That's fair.
Now you're next. Go ahead.
Let me make sure my framing's okay. Yeah, it's a little rough. There we go.
It is recording, I presume?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And if it isn't, I got audio. I guess one of my other questions would be, you push back on far right or hard right. Where would you put yourself?
I would put myself supporting natural law, the laws of nature and nature's God. Now that is a constitutional doctrine. Well, specifically, it is a doctrine that has been articulated from Blackstone's law, common law. We are an Anglo-American, we're part of that legal tradition.
Pretend I'm dumb. What is Blackstone's law?
Blackstone's law, it is
Pretend I'm an idiot and don't know what that is.
It's fine. This is a large compendium of legal discussion and doctrine and legal theory, which was articulated by one of the premier practitioners of common law. It is a staple, is a fundamental, it's almost like the Bible, if you will, of common law, especially for modern times. Blackstone, I don't remember his first name, but our common law system, we're not like France or Mexico. They have a continental system or a civil law system, for lack of a better term. But you have that long legal tradition from Magna Carta to the present day, but clearly articulated in the Declaration of Independence. Our rights come from God, not from man, and they are universal. Yeah. Notice I didn't mention God. I didn't, except in a civic sense.
Okay, but like I guess because you're pushing back on hard right, I'm genuinely asking you where would you fall?
I said supporting the laws of nature. Common sense. It's normative. This wasn't common.
Left, center, right.
Well, the interesting thing is you can't put truth on a spectrum. It stands on its own.
Right.
We have Democrats who've supported us, by the way.
Sure, that's
and
true.
still support us.
Let me ask another way, because I want to be fair but also clear.
This is someone new. Right? You've probably never had someone. Most of the people that you've covered, they don't talk to you.
No.
Did Roof Korean ever talk to you?
He sends me DMs every once in a while and tags me on Twitter, but
okay.
I think we've had a conversation or two.
Fair enough.
Early on.
Okay.
He said some things that were violent, so I don't engage anymore. But forgot where I was. Sorry. There we go. Let me ask it another way. Not that all Republicans are hard right, and I want to be clear, that's not why I'm asking this. I'm not trying to trap you or anything like that. You say you don't have a political spectrum or anything like that. How long has it been since you voted for a Democrat?
Oh.
And that doesn't make you hard right. I understand that. I want to be super clear. And I do understand that.
You'll love it. 2018.
Okay.
I voted for Dianne Feinstein for U.S. Senate.
Okay.
There were 2 Democrats on the ballot. I voted for Feinstein.
Can I follow up on that?
Have I voted for a Democrat when there was a Republican?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
I know that doesn't happen that often with our primary system. But
I have not, because the Democrat Party embraces aggressive homosexual and transgender promotion. AB 1955, which I mentioned, this was a bill that the Democratic supermajority shoved down all of our throats in spite of widespread opposition to it from all walks of political life. There were lines upon lines in the state legislature opposing AB 1955, which allowed teachers to keep secrets.
Sorry, it's a cute dog.
That's fine. to keep secrets away from parents about if a kid says I'm gay, I'm trans, please keep it to yourself, etc. Okay? And the Democrat Party wants the secrets, they want the gay adoption, they Senate Bill 145. This is a bill that allows a 24-year-old to have sex with a 14-year-old, and they can avoid the sex offender registry. And you know what? This isn't me saying it. Scott Wiener, the state senator in San Francisco, explicitly advertised this bill as an LGBT bill. His words, not mine.
I haven't read the wording, so I'll just have to take you on your word for right now.
This is horrific stuff.
Okay.
And it was so bad.
Like that's probably not true to me, but I'll take your word for it. I have not read the bill.
Urge you to look it up.
Okay.
Okay. There it is. I can't vote for a Democrat. No way.
Okay. Yeah. I guess the only other thing I wanted to ask is like, it seems like a silly question, but like, why do you do what you do? I mean, I can't help but notice like you got arrested in Torrance. Like, it seems like
I did not get arrested in Torrance.
Was that not Torrance, the city council meeting?
I didn't get arrested in Torrance.
All right. I know you've been let out of a city council meeting and detained, right? It's been a while.
I can't recall off the top of my head.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I'll ask the question another way. To me, it seems, and listen, to be clear, I feel this way about myself all the time.
Okay.
Your life would probably be easier if you didn't do the work you did.
Oh, right? Really? So
right?
What motivates?
From an
why am I doing this, or what?
Yeah. Why are you doing this? Because from an outsider's perspective, that's how it looks.
You know,
and I certainly feel that way about my life. So.
Okay. I love to write. I love speaking up for the truth. I can go all the way back to 2003 when I was watching Trinity Broadcasting Network of all channels, and there was a story about a pastor in Sweden named Oka Green. He was arrested. What was his crime? Preaching. He preached against homosexuality, but he also preached against fornication, having sex before marriage. He preached against adultery, all sexual, because he was a pastor. He's preaching Christian doctrine, and he was arrested for that. And that offended me to no end, and I was extremely alarmed by it. And those, I would like to know if...
Car wreck. Sorry about that.
Okay, well,
we're good.
Are you listening or not? Okay,
yeah.
But...
I stopped for like 2 seconds just because I heard that. Sorry.
We could talk about in Canada, 2006, you had a t-shirt company which was sued, forced to pay, and forced to create shirts for an LGBT event, even though it was owned by Christians. This is vile. That is Stalinist. We could talk, I mentioned it earlier, Baronelle Stutzman, she didn't want to provide flowers for a same-sex wedding. She was persecuted by the courts, and she ultimately had to give up her business. We could talk about the children in Scotland who have been kicked out of schools because they refuse to recognize more than two sexes. This is tyranny. This is Stalinist. And I've gotten to the place where you look at the history, you look at the outcomes, you see the whole LGBT agenda. It's never about compromise or live and let live. It's always we live and you have to live with it. It has become a cudgel to force people to accept homosexuality and transgenderism. Don't take my word for it. Brian Kamaker, the president of our organization, created a 25-minute documentary, What Gay Marriage Did to Massachusetts. It's nothing but abuse, a violation of natural right, greater spread of venereal disease, destruction to the public order. And I'm fed up with it. And most importantly of all, that people don't have the basic opportunity. They should be able to speak the truth. Homosexuality is wrong. They should be able to say that and not fear consequence or sanction for doing so. Plus all the stuff that's happening in the schools. The slippery slope is real. That's one of the first things that Brian says in his documentary, and that's the truth. And I'm committed to that. I don't think I answered your question very well. Why am I doing it? Because I'm committed to this agenda. It bothers me so much. I've been an activist on many causes. I care about politics. I love writing about politics when I'm not being an activist. I like knowing that I can make a difference in the culture. And I think that this is, again, a looming problem that needs to be confronted, that needs to be stopped.
One's very quick. I actually have this.
That's fine.
I have two questions. Only if it's relevant. Assuming you're Christian.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I am a Christian.
Yeah. Any specific denomination? You don't have to tell me the church or anything.
I guess people would call me evangelical. I attend Calvary Life in Gardena.
All right. Would you say that informs some of your opinions on homosexuality?
I formed my views in part from biblical truth, true, but this was before I was attending Calvary Life.
Fair enough. And I guess the last one, is there anything that you feel like really should have asked that I didn't?
I would ask you, why do you think that homosexuality is acceptable?
At the end of the day, I mean, I have a lot of gay friends. They seem happy. a lot of them, frankly, have more stable marriages than
They seem
than the
happy.
ones- Yeah, well, I mean, I don't live in their head. You don't either, right? I mean, Shiva's over there smiling. She seems happy, right? I don't know that.
Putting aside
right?
feelings,
Yeah.
do you understand the behaviors that take place between two men?
Well, I mean, I don't ask too many questions,
Like,
right?
we're talking like anal penetration. That's destructive to the digestive tract,
Okay.
the spread of cancers.
Well, I mean,
Do you
heterosexual
understand that
couples
the
have
average
sex,
homosexual,
too.
the average homosexual
You
has
understand
had
that,
50
right?
partners regarding like opposite?
I know it sounds like I'm being cagey, but
No. Opposite sex sodomy doesn't have the same damage, and I'll tell you why. Because you
Okay.
don't have the risky behaviors that are pervasive. You don't have the anonymous sex that is pervasive in homosexual populations.
heterosexual people have.
That's true. And here's the other thing too.
Everybody's
You can put
doing
this
their thing, right?
You can put that aside as well. You can look at psychological reports. They did a study on this. They looked at the most homosexually tolerant communities. We're talking about like Norway, Sweden, Washington, D.C. They looked at the death rates. Homosexuals, on average, have a 20% reduction in their lifespan. That's not me talking. That's psychological reports. There's something wrong here.
I guess there's one more important.
And the other thing I have to ask, because you don't ask this,
Yeah.
a lot of people who are left of center, I presume, if we're going to talk about, I am right of center, no doubt. I'm not ashamed to say that extreme right is used as a smear. That's not right, because it's not extreme to tell the truth. But the fact is, homosexuality, it's not innate. Do you think it is?
Well, I mean, there's gay animals, you know.
No, there
I
are not.
mean,
That is incorrect.
Okay. There's like the gay penguins at the zoo.
You will
like there's
have
gay animals.
when you have a male like penetrating another male, it's about dominance. It's not about affection.
Okay.
There are that kind of behavior with lions. But here's a point I want to bring up, building on that, and I appreciate this discussion actually. So my views have changed on you somewhat. I appreciate it. Do you really think we should be looking to animals as a standard for human conduct?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about natural,
Animals
I
eat
think-
their own shit. Animals eat their own children. Animals have no regard for the population they live in. You do realize that we treat animals humanely, correct? There's an ethical, qualitative difference
We like
there.
to think we do. Sometimes we don't. But
Some don't, but there is a movement for that. Do animals create a movement to treat? If animals treat animals like animals, they eat them, they savage them, they ravage them, they destroy them. There's no desire to maintain their life or their habitat. Again, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to be looking to animals for a standard for human conduct. That doesn't work.
you asked me why I think it's okay. You know, the other aspect of it, I guess this isn't exactly an answer to your question, but like the other aspect of it for me is, you know, if there's all sorts of things adults do that I don't agree with,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
All sorts of stuff. Listen, if everybody did everything that only that I agree with, it'd be a pretty boring place, right?
Okay.
Ultimately, and I'm not conceding this, but like, let's pretend like I am,
Mm-hmm.
right? Maybe hypothetically, right? Perhaps it is wrong. And again, I'm not conceding that. I want to be super clear. I'm
Sure.
not. But if I were to, they're adults, right? Like,
okay.
why does it? I guess I and again, you have every right to believe.
To sum up, what two
like-
consenting adults do in private, why does
Sure.
that affect
like,
me?
For instance, like maybe someone disagrees with, I don't know what kind of car you drive. Maybe you drive a
Okay.
Subaru or something, right?
With all
Maybe
due
somebody's like,
okay.
well, I don't like Subarus. Like,
Fair enough, but with all due respect,
yeah.
driving a car is not sexual conduct.
Okay.
And sexual conduct has manifold implications. When a man and a woman have sex, whether they're married or not, they have analyzed this. There are biological changes. There's an attachment. There are emotional changes. They have studied how promiscuous or easy sex has created a higher degree of mental health problems for adolescents, Gen Z and sadly Gen Alpha. These are becoming more pronounced issues. Sex is not like driving a car. This isn't about what kind of car you drive or what kind of sports you engage in. Sex is a different matter entirely. There's the procreation of life. There's the spread of disease if you're not wise and proper in your bearing. And I've told you, when a man sticks his when a man sticks his penis up another man's anus, it's abuse. There's bloodshed. This ain't normal. When a woman takes her hand and shoves it up another woman's vagina, there is harm, there is damage. This is degrading. Don't take my word for it. There are therapists in Florida, a gay therapist, pro-homosexual therapist, in fact, and he has told men especially older men, to refrain from being the passive partner, because it leads to a host of mental health problems, because it's a degrading practice, and those males end up losing their self-concept. It's a very serious problem. I can email this stuff to you. Got a card? I'll email it to you, Cat with News.
Card.
Just tell me your email.
I have your card.
Okay, email it to me.
Yeah.
Cat with News, right? You're still a Cat with News?
No, I actually changed it because I didn't want to pay for it no more.
You're a dog with news. Okay, I'm joking.
Yeah. It's Beckner-Carmitchell at ProtonMail.com.
Okay, you just stick with your name.
Yeah.
Fair
Do
enough.
me a favor. I'll do the same courtesy to you.
You can
the
throw
only part that I ask you to cut is the actual email, and I will do the same for you.
Oh, I got it.
Fair? I just
Okay.
Because I feel like both of us could potentially have some issues down the road, and I don't want you to
Okay.
deal with that, and I don't want me to deal with that.
Okay.
So, okay, it's the only request I'll have is literally just the email part.
Okay.
Not that it's hard to find my email, but you know.
Okay, I can't make any promises. I'm not much of an editor, so
No worries.
my information
If it happens,
is public.
It happens, but yeah,
My information is public.
right.
So, you had another question, I presume, or what?
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I'll stop. I'm still audio, but
Okay.
yeah, my arm's tired. Yeah, like I said, I just want to clarify. Like for me, this was about I'm just trying to understand your position.
Am I spoken to you? I didn't run away, did I?
No.
Because a lot of people do. And let me take a photo with you.
That one, that's fine. Yeah.
There we go.
'Cause I thought you were gonna hug me. I was like,
No.
that's a little far. You could take a photo with me in it, but
Didn't hug you. See, I violate. I respect natural right. People have
Okay.
boundaries.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, but
All right.
nobody has a natural right to privacy in public because it's a public space, which
For
you
what it's worth,
understand.
I agree.
Which you understand better than most because as a journalist. Okay, thank you very much.